Welcome back to day 2 of this course where you are going to learn how to become a screenwriter in just 10 days. So first off, let's just do a quick recap of what happened yesterday. We started off simple, just coming up with some ideas. So what you did is you brainstormed a big list of ideas and then you narrowed it down hopefully to 3 that you like best. Then you did a little bit of extra work on those 3 ideas so that you can narrow it down to the 1 idea that you're going to be working on for the rest of this 10-day course. And hopefully with that 1 idea, you had a bit of time to work on some 1-sentence logline tests. And hopefully you've got a few of those so that you have at least some kind of idea of what this story is about. Not only that, but loglines are pretty great, especially later on when it comes time to start like selling your project or pitching it to other people or filmmakers or financiers. What are we doing in day 2? Firstly, we're going to figure out a bit more of what this story is actually about. We're going to be looking at the theme. We're also going to be looking at who your protagonist is. And then we'll just do a little bit more work on how to make sure that your short film is simple enough so that you can actually convey the message that you want to convey without it being overcomplicated and confusing your viewers. By the end of this video today, you're going to have a much clearer idea of what your story is about. Number 1 is the theme. Now, theme is different to plot. Plot is pretty much saying what happens in the story, whereas theme is more about why it is happening. Now, themes can be labeled in a few ways. Sometimes it could just be a couple of words, sometimes it might be more of a sentence, and it really just comes down to the purpose behind why you want to make this film. That might be easier said than done because a lot of the time when we're drawn to a certain idea, it might just be because it makes us feel something. The exercise of figuring out what the theme is trying to put that feeling into words, something that we can actually describe. A good place to start off when trying to figure out what the theme of the film is, thinking about the idea that you've got written down and identifying the feelings that it makes you feel. The feelings that it makes you feel. Of course you feel feelings. Perhaps your beliefs or a question that you're trying to answer with this. Some of the more simple common themes would be love and relationships or good versus evil. Maybe hope and redemption, technology versus humanity, dreams versus reality. It could be about sacrifice. It could be about control. It could be about power. You could sort of start off saying that the theme of your story is about control. But then you can also choose, if you want to be a bit more specific. So let's say that the theme of your short film is control. Now, you could just have that just by itself, control, and you know that everything in your film is related to control in some way. But you can also choose to be a bit more specific with it if you want to. So for example, maybe it's about loss of control. Maybe it's about the illusion of control or the balance of control, you know? So there's a number of ways that you can sort of dig a bit deeper. Really, this is just an exercise to help you understand a bit better what your story is about. One bit of homework that'll be for this evening, but you're also welcome to pause the video and work on it now as well, is just spending a little bit of time going through your idea and just trying to identify what kind of theme it is. So, so you can just go through a list of themes and just see if any of them feel relevant to what your story is. And again, I mean, for me at least, it usually comes down to gut feeling. I'll start working on themes and I'm just trying to find different ways to explain what it is that I feel when I am thinking about this idea. The exercise that I would like you to do either now or later today is to write down 3 different ways that you can explain the theme or the message of your film. Next up, we're going to talk about the protagonist of your film. The protagonist is typically known as the main character. An important thing to know with the protagonist of a film is that the protagonist pretty much is the film. The film wouldn't happen the way that it happens if the protagonist wasn't there. And if you can remove the protagonist, and the story does still happen exactly the same way, then they're actually not your protagonist. And maybe it's just about finding who is the protagonist or adjusting that character so that they are, because it is their decisions that need to be able to drive the story. When you're looking at your idea that you've chosen, there are 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself. And it's okay if you don't know the answers just yet, but it's something you're going to be working on. Number 1 is, what do they want? There's always something that the character wants. They just want to live a peaceful life. Maybe they want adventure. Maybe they want for nothing to happen to them. Maybe they want lots of money and fame and fortune. We're going to make it very clear that the protagonist wants something. The story of any film is basically the protagonist wants something. There is something that is getting in their way. Then by the end of it, they have overcome this challenge and therefore they have changed and grown as a person. So those are the 3 questions that I would like you to ask yourself. Number 1 is, what do they want? Number 2 is, what is getting in their way? And number 3 is, how do they change because of it? If you have those 3 things, then you are ready. The protagonist's journey is the spine of your entire film. Now, the third part of this, which is something that I talked about during the day 1 video, is to keep it simple. So what short films need is clarity over complexity. So if you have some kind of big murder mystery drama, there's lots of different characters, there's lots of different pieces, then it's probably not right for a short film. If you do have a murder mystery, then the confines of the short film might just be a small piece of that mystery rather than the entire thing. For the short film, you're going to be focusing on one core emotional idea, the story's emotional anchor. So once again, the character wants something is getting in their way, and they change because of it. It can be a small change, but they change in some way. They want the money, something stops them from getting the money. They realize they don't need the money and they have something else. I don't know, whatever it is, depends on your story. The emotion of the protagonist is the compass that tells you where the story needs to go. So that is it for today's video. There is a bit of homework that you're going to be completing based on the things that I have said. These are still early days though, so it's very simple and it's just about playing with the idea and seeing what it is that you can come up with. So what we covered is how to clarify the story's theme, how to define the protagonist's goal, their main obstacle, and their character arc. And also just going through again the importance of keeping it simple and emotionally focused. The homework for today is to write down the theme and the message for your film. You're going to try to write your theme in 3 different ways. You do one simple, make one that's a bit longer, and then try another one as well and just see if something else fits. Then after that, we're going to write down just one paragraph about our protagonist, just trying to explain who they are, what it is that they want, what their obstacle is, and how they're going to change by the end of it. And if you think you have a really good idea of who your protagonist is, then see if there's any other info that you can write down. You know, maybe they have certain habits or hobbies or addictions, obsessions over something, whatever ideas. If you have a name for the protagonist already, then write it down and just see how much you can flesh out. We will be working on character a bit more in a future video, but see if you can get a head start. And then finally, the third piece of homework is see if you can write one sentence describing the emotional focus of the story. Now, this is closely related to the theme. What kind of feeling is this film? Is it scary? Is it funny? Is it dramatic? Is it passionate? How does it feel to watch this film? Is it anxiety-inducing? Is it calm and relaxing? There's all sorts of things. I could keep saying words, but you also know words, so give it a go. In day 3, tomorrow, we're going to be looking at how to structure a story. So today you've got a few of those pieces, and now we're going to be figuring out what a story structure actually looks like. And then it's really just slotting things in the right place and then filling in the blanks. That is it for day 2. I'll see you tomorrow in day 3. And once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.